Now, Nelson, what is Grabbz role swapping to?
To like a water bringer and a towel bringer. Like if we ever get sweaty during practice, Grabbz can be there to bring us some cold water from the fridge.
Well, it's summer, so it looks like he's gonna have quite a lot of work. Let's start everything with G2's, I suppose, road to obviously where you guys want to be the top of the LEC. So you've updated your front lines with now Nelson joining you guys in a coaching position, and I'm curious to hear what made G2 search for this helping hand in the first place.
Well, I think we kind of felt like players and the coaching staff was like maybe not enough. Maybe we didn't have enough ideas. Besides that, I felt like we had some champion issues or champion pick issues going into Spring Split playoffs. There were many champions that we just didn't play, so that made drafting very difficult for us in playoffs, or at least made it harder. And I feel like Nelson brings a lot of fresh air from LPL. I think his ideas and his view of the game is different from ours, or well, slightly different. He just brings new concepts. And besides that, I think that he also has a very strong opinion about if a champion is good or not. And then if the champion is good and you don't play it, then you are just bad, kind of, right? Because you are supposed to play kind of every champion in the meta, every champion that's strong. So I feel like so far he helped the team a lot. And we maybe didn't show it as much yet on stage, but I'm sure that the work will pay off in the end.
Yeah, it's been only a couple weeks, if even. Now you're bringing in a coach from the LPL, so is the idea behind this to get more prepared for international events and to be ready to face the Asian teams?
I suppose kind of. I think that we really want to win Europe and we want to become a better team. And the road is, of course, to be the best team in Europe and at Worlds, or mainly at Worlds, but we cannot really skip Europe because, I mean, we didn't even win Spring Split, right? So I feel like currently we have to care about the domestic title and the domestic games. And afterwards, we can kind of think about Worlds. Of course, though, like I mentioned, the concepts he brings to the team are from LPL, right? How we play around jungle, how we play with support, how we play moving around the map, how we set up our objectives, how we treat our side laners. I think all of those things, I mean, we kind of like knew some of them, and some of them maybe are upgraded, and some of them just have like a different ideas than what we used to do, and some of it is the same, right? So again, I mean, of course, the goal is to be the best, right? Wherever we, thanks to him, wherever we can prepare better for LPL or LCK, that's maybe like the second, like on the second like frame, like kind of in the background now.
Sure. What about Mad Lions though? I'm curious because Mad Lions supposedly plays in a very LPL style, right? So is it also to prepare for them, the new champions of Europe?
Yeah, no.
Sure.
I guess Mad Lions, right? But it's not like we are specifically again preparing for them. So basically, week to week, we focus on ourselves, and of course, there are ways where we think about our opponents, right? When we played against Astralis, we had to talk about Astralis. Tomorrow we face Rogue, we are gonna talk about Rogue. Next week we face whoever, right? And last week when we played Mad Lions, the first game, we were mostly thinking about them. And then we had Schalke and SK Gaming, and sure, we lost to Schalke. We won against SK, but I feel like also the meta is was getting shifted a little bit last week, and champions that we opened up against Schalke came out very, very strong. And I feel like even though we got all the Drakes, the Dragon Soul, we just could not play team fights against their comps. So, I mean, okay, that game was winnable. It was very hard to play, right? I mean, because this is the only game we lost so far, right? I mean, the game against Astralis, which was pretty bad as well. We kind of hinted, or like, I think I hinted my pathing in the early game. Caps played a little bit maybe too forward on the side lanes when Rumble is there with Predator and Lucian is there as well to punish him, right? But we had our bot lane to carry, so that was nice that our bot lane was able to like kind of carry us that game. But yeah, there's still many mistakes to do, and everyone is kind of doing them, right? Popping mistakes, objective mistakes, how we play on Drakes, how we play on sidewaves, how we play on waves. So yeah, there's so many things to improve on, but I'm also very much looking forward to getting better at all of those things.
All right, you got to face SK Gaming last weekend, and I want to hear from you what your first impressions are on Treatz Jungle. I know you haven't been able to play against Bwipo Jungle. Well, probably on stage. I don't know about what you guys have practiced, right? But what are your first impressions on this role swap?
I think Treatz is playing kind of creative, if I can call it like that, because he is thinking in like the old mindset, maybe from like season 9, around that, where jungle had more free time and the camps were spawning slower, so you gank a lot and you pressure them up a lot. And I feel like this is something that maybe disappeared more in season 10, 11, because of course now the camps are 215, it used to be 2, and then before that was 230, right? So I felt like before, back in the day, you had a lot of free time. Now we have less free time, but more than you used to have like 2-3 months ago in Spring Split. So I do think that his playstyle can bring fruits, kind of. Like, of course, he can, gank Wunder a lot and maybe he gets 1 kill, but he sacrifices the whole map for it. Or at least in our game, like he gave up the whole map just to gank top lane a lot, which I don't think is very good, right? But I mean, as a player, like mechanic-wise, I think he's good. So he will not lag in that. I also think that jungle is pretty straightforward right now to play. And if you have a good team and you have a good game understanding, you can play the role. That being said, I mean, he was getting kills in our game, but he didn't really, like I mentioned, he kind of gave up the map for it, or like at least bot side heavily. Maybe that's their game plan. I don't know, right? Maybe they just play around the top side. But I don't think he's bad. I think he's fine. He played fine in our game, and his performance overall so far has been decent as well, right? He normally tends to fall behind farm, and he tends to prioritize ganking over farming, but that's something that maybe is good for his team or good for him if he chooses to do so.
Sure, that's a very thorough analysis. Let's think then. Who in G2 would you think would be most likely to role swap to jungle? Who would succeed the most out of your team?
I think this one is kind of hard to say, because I feel like the only one, so I think Reckless wouldn't really, because I think he's too much into AD carry role and he would just not bother. So I think he would probably not care that much. So I probably he wouldn't really. I think Mickey as well wouldn't really so much, because he's a support, but I feel like I know sometimes when I look, like his ideas sometimes are so int that I feel like as a jungler he would int so much that I wouldn't like to watch it. And he would play only champions like Karthus, and when Karthus would not be in the meta, he would still play Karthus. But anyway, I think that like Wunder probably, because Wunder actually used to play jungle, I think back in the very, very old days. I think he did play some jungle, and I feel like when he's playing off-role in solo queue as jungle, he's not playing so bad. I don't really watch him, but at least he really likes to talk highly of himself when he's playing jungle. So maybe he would feel good in the role. So maybe it's just something about top laners swapping into jungle. And I think Caps would be also fine. I think Caps overall is like pretty talented, pretty good at the game, right? I think whenever he's playing jungle solo queue, he either is playing Kindred and he goes like 10 deaths on average, but he's trying to go for every mark. So then he has like 10 deaths, 10 kills, and then he can carry the game right being fed. Or he's playing something that can just full clear and never ever gank. So he's he is like a bit extreme in his like jungle gameplay. So I would probably put him on number 2, and Wunder number 1, Mickey number 3, and Rectus number 4.
All right, now Nelson, what is Grabbz role swapping to?
To like a water bringer and a towel bringer. Like if we ever get sweaty during practice, Grabbz can be there to bring us some cold water from the fridge.
Well, it's summer, so it looks like he's going to have quite a lot of work. Talking about Grabbz, I do have a community question, and it's from Grabbz. So he asked me to ask you, what is more likely to miss, your Nidalee spears or your shots on goal playing football? I feel like this is a personal flame.
Yeah, it is. We played football on Thursday. We played football, and I was, let's say, good at defending, but at shooting at the goal was not so great, since let's just say that my Nidalee spears could be as accurate as my shots in football. So the ball was everywhere, but not in the goal. When I was, kicking it into the goal, it would just fly away somewhere. I don't know what is more likely to miss. I would assume that I'm better at Nidalee than at football, but since I played football. I played football since I was very young, right? So maybe my spears actually came from my football skills. I don't know. Both of them are very, you would instantly realize if you would actually see play football. You would like realize.
You think it's related that, you know, like the angles and all that? You think it works all together or not really?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's just something with my eyes. I cannot play football and I cannot learn needle spears.
All right, back to a serious topic. You had mentioned on a stream before that your team was struggling to find leadership within players, right? And you mentioned that you were willing to take on this role to be the team leader. Has that actually happened?
I wouldn't really say so. I feel like the bigger problem, sure, we didn't really have a leader last split. We didn't have like anyone to maybe take more responsibility, and it's something I tried to do by the end of playoffs, and we lost. And I don't think we lost because of me, right? I think it was like many factors that came down to it, but I feel like right now we have a really good schedule. Like, so it's something we implemented, or the coaching staff implemented along the management. We have like a schedule that we follow during the practice weeks where we exercise together, we do team activities together, we had dinners together, and we also like spend more time together overall according to the schedule. And I feel like that helps us to be more together as a team. And I feel like the problem in Spring Split was that a lot of people would just like do their own thing, like maybe Reckless would like finish scrims, go home, maybe Wunder would just like play WoW after scrims, I would go stream, Caps would play solo queue, Mickey would do something else. So everyone kind of did their own thing in Spring Split. And right now we are trying so that everyone is together more often, and we basically force people to do team activities. And I think that's like a good thing in the end, because if we couldn't find time where all 5 of us would do things together, we need to force it on ourselves, because we need to do things together, right? I think that having a good team spirit and being friends outside of just playing League together is something that is important. And in the end, if you have like an argument in game, right, and maybe there's a heated up argument on Monday, let's say, and then you don't really see the other person as a human, you only see him as a co-worker, and you only work with him to play League, then you may not feel about him the same way as you would if you actually spend some time with him and see that he's also has emotions and he's also a human, right? Aww. So I feel like it's good that we are forcing things on ourselves now, and I think everyone has been following the schedule very strictly, and everyone did their hardest to make it work, and I think that will help in the long run as well.
All right, perfect. And what have been the biggest shifts in play style in order to adapt from the last split?
I think we think more about, Drake setups, Herald setups. We tend to lose Herald so far, but we think about them. I think we also think more about side lanes. We think, we are pretty good on side lanes before, but I just feel like we are, there's few concepts we are implementing that I don't really want to go into details with. But overall, I think something that we were proud about in the past, in like maybe 2019-20, was that if we are even in the game by like 20 minutes, we are always going to win because we are always better at macro. And I feel like our macro actually got worse and other teams got better, especially this year. So I feel like we're like not that as good on macro already. Like we are not as good on the map. And the map play is something that we are really trying to improve on, because in the end, even if our individual skill is slightly worse than our team, but if we play better as a team and we are better macro, we are going to end up winning the game, right? And maybe in Europe, it's not something that will be problematic, but maybe we go to Worlds and people are actually, very, very high skill level. Maybe sometimes one of us will get outperformed, right? Or even multiple of us. But if we play in the end better as a team, it won't matter as much. And I think that we have like the world caliber players on every role anyway, right? Whichever they are currently the best or not the best on the roles, they are for sure like top 2, top 3 in Europe at least, right? So I feel like we just have to be better as a team, and that's like the most important part. And improving our macro and anything that's around it.
All right, I look forward to see how you guys are going to pull that off over the split then. Thank you.
Yeah, same. Thank you very much.
For more League of Legends esports interviews, make sure that you subscribe to our channel and follow us on Twitter and